First, I would like to give all honor, praises, and thanks unto Yah, the God of the beginning, the God of the Genesis, the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of my being, my breath of life. And to all of you that are tuned into this webcast today, I would like to ask the Holy One of Israel to watch over you and to guide you back to your destinations in peace. I'm Ben-Ami, the anointed spiritual leader of the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem and all of the jurisdictions abroad. On the 16th of July 2011, I was visited by the Holy Spirit, and I was given the formula for everlasting life, physical immortality on this earth. And the reason being is that it was to bring us and the pursuit of physical immortality back to its source, back to the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yah, the Creator of the heavens and the earth, in comprehensible terms and doable deeds. I want to ask that all of you be very, very attentive. In the course of the dissertation, I will be using some characters from the Hebrew language. I do understand that most of you are not familiar with the Hebrew language, but possibly through eye contact, you will be able to discern the similarity of the characters. The first portion of the formula revealed, part 1, the power of the name. The power of the name. Every other portion will be predicated upon your understanding of this portion. This is the key to understanding all of the other portions. This is the code word, the password. If you do not understand what the Father will be sharing with you today, you will not be able to comprehend the other portions of the formula. So today, we are sharing with you the major key, the power of the name. All of the families on the earth today are faced with the same problem. And the problem is deception. Deception poses the greatest threat to the continued existence of life on this planet. You have been deceived into believing that you are progressing, that you are making it, that you are succeeding. But I would like to re-emphasize that the ozone isn't succeeding. The oceans are not succeeding. The seas are not succeeding. The rainforests are not succeeding. Nothing in your life support system is succeeding. Don't you understand that you have been deceived to feel that your entire life support system is being destroyed and you are succeeding? None of the things in the life support system are making it, but you are making it. Wise to do evil, but to understand truth, you have no knowledge. I know that some of you are probably asking, by what authority do I come before you to proclaim in the absolute that I have been given the formula for everlasting life? physical immortality on this planet. I would just like to remind you of the words of Amos, the prophet, in the 3rd chapter and the 7th verse.
Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophet.
Behold, Yahweh has stated that he will do nothing, but come by divine revelation to his messengers, to his anointed, to his prophets, and through divine revelation he will reveal the blessings and the process through which they are to be materialized. There will always be an anointed personality in your midst coming before you, through whom the Holy Spirit will convey yours truth. So you may relax in understanding that I lift up my voice as the voice of the trumpet. The words that I speak unto you have been given unto me by Yah, the Creator of the heavens and the earth. And this truth that I share with you is to extol his great name, not the name of Ben-Ammi, but to bring great glory and honor unto the God of creation. There will always be an anointed personage in your midst. So please be attentive to all that I will be sharing with you this evening, giving you the keys to physical immortality on this earth. I would like to go now to the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 6th verse. We are approaching a very, very significant point in this dissertation, and it has to do with the 3rd commandment. I know that it is hard for you to believe that your mind, body, and soul has been subjugated by lies. As a matter of fact, the entire world has been subjugated by lies. And at this time, your brain will have to undergo a cognitive restoration. And the only way that this can be performed is that you come under the influence of a different idea. You must come under the influence of the Genesis idea, the idea of truth. We will proceed now as we come to the 3rd commandment. And we will begin with Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 6th verse.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, destroy respect for, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell therein.
And it states in Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 6th verse, says, in this anti-your civilization, this anti-your idea, and those under its influence that have been made wise to do evil, says, and they would lift up their voices to blaspheme the Creator. And in addition to that, they would blaspheme his name They would blaspheme God, and they would blaspheme his name. Why is that so significant? To blaspheme his name is simply saying that they would cause great disrespect for the name of the Creator. That the name of the Creator in the dispensation of deception would find no honor, no glory, and he would blaspheme his name. And just like truth was swept into the streets, so was the name of the God of creation swept into the streets. And as a result of the blasphemy, the loss of respect in the civilization of deception for the name of the Creator, we find the words of Isaiah the prophet in the 64th chapter and the 7th verse.
And there is none that calleth upon thy name, that stirreth up himself to take hold of thee. For thou hast hid thy face from us, and has consumed us because of our iniquities.
Isaiah states that no one is calling upon the name of the Creator. No one is calling upon the name of Yah, the God of the Genesis, the God of the beginning. And the prophet Isaiah is voicing a complaint. Says no one is being stirred up with the hearing of thy name. No one is calling upon thy name. And it stands to reason that the reason that they are not calling upon the name of the Creator is because when truth was swept into the streets, so was his name. Because within the context of the name of the Creator is power. And this first portion is called the power of the name. The third commandment. The third commandment gives us a very, very significant view, very, very critical insight into the power of the name. The third commandment. Historically, according to history and legend, the 10 commandments were written with the finger of God. 10 extraordinary principles, 10 commands, 10 commandments. And we find in the midst of those extraordinary commands, we find a commandment dealing with the name of the Creator and the significance of names. The third commandment. And I would like for you to look very, very attentively upon the screen. And on the screen at this time, we find the third commandment written in Hebrew. We find the third commandment with the contemporary translation, and we find the third commandment with the true translation of what is being conveyed in the Hebrew. The Hebrew. Lo tisa et Shem Yehovah Elohecha lashав, ki lo yenake Yehovah et asher yisa et shmo thou shalt. And we find the contemporary translation, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Now the contemporary translation, we find that it gives the impression Lord thy God is a continuous name. But in the Hebrew, it is very, very significant for you to understand the message that is being conveyed in the third commandment. And I would like to share with you the true translation of the third commandment. Thou shalt not take the name Yahuwah, your God, in vain. Not the Lord thy God as a continual statement. For we find in the third commandment, we're talking about a name. But except that you go back and understand the Hebrew, no name is given. But in the Hebrew, a name is given. You shall not take the name Yahuwah. You shall not take the name Yahuwah, your God. Yahuwah, your God, in vain. For Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Quite a difference in the message that is written in the third commandment and the contemporary translation. Also in the third commandment we find lo tisah, and in the English rendition we find you shall not take. But the root of the word tisah also connects up with marry, to wed, to marry or to wed, to connect to. So actually, what is the third commandment conveying? In addition to the name of the Creator, what is actually being said is that you shall not attach the name of Yahuwah, your God, to that which does not accurately represent him. You shall not marry his name to a culture that does not accurately represent him. You shall not wed his name to music that does not accurately represent him. So that means that if you were asked to say the blessing over a meal that consists of swine flesh, then you should very politely and without offending decline the opportunity, because it is forbidden for you to use Yah's name to bless a meal that does not accurately represent his dietary standard. It would be forbidden for you to say a blessing to lift up the name of Yah over a meal that is in violation of his dietary standards. And if you accepted the invitation, then your prayer would be that a strong wind, that Yah Yisrael would send a strong wind to blow all of the spread to blow it all away, or to send an earthquake to swallow up everything on that table, so that the people would be blessed by not consuming the swine's flesh. So, the third commandment, thou shalt not marry. And that means that we must delineate accurately in words, the Holy Spirit. We must delineate accurately in deeds. We must delineate that which accurately represents the creator of the heavens and the earth. You cannot wed his name or give the impression that a culture that is in violation of his will has been sanctioned by the Creator. You cannot give the impression that a meal that is in violation of his dietary standards has been sanctioned by the Creator. For the commandment, the third commandment states that Yah will not hold him guiltless that weds, that marries his name to that which does not accurately represent him. The third commandment. From the third commandment, we're able to extract the essence of the significance and the power of names. This message is not only important, was not only important to the Hebrews, but this message has significance for all of the families on this earth. The importance and the significance of names. The Creator has said, and he has admonished us, when we extract the fundamental understanding that we should not place a vain name upon ourselves, neither should we wed a vain name to our children. That is to say that names that we take for ourselves and names that we give to our children should not be vain names or names that are worthless, names that have no significant effect, names representing other gods. We must be very, very circumspect when we take names for ourselves and when we give names to our children and to others. For the power of the name, we understand that in Semitic languages, specifically in the Hebrew language, that names carried prefixes and suffixes that related to the Creator. But we find in the English language that names do not carry prefixes or suffixes that relate to the Creator. We have got to go back to the Genesis idea. You must understand today's message, the power of the name. The third commandment holds the key. Thou shalt not wed, thou shalt not marry the name Yahuwah, your God. You shall not wed, marry the name of your God to vanity, to that which is vain, to that which does not accurately represent him. Hebrew names. We we find a name like Eliyahu. It means that Yah is my God. Yor Eli. It means that Yah is my God. Yechezkel. That Yah, that God is my strength. Semitic languages are very, very important. But when we consider those names within the prism of the whole, the prism of holiness, there is even a greater significance to the names that were given and selected by our fathers. For names in the Semitic language connect us up with a land, a language, and a culture. With a land, language, culture, and a God. The Hebrew language connects us up when we look upon it holistically in its holiness. Then the Hebrew language connects us up with a God. Eliyahu. My God is Yah. Yor Eli. Yah is my God. Ovad Yah. A worshipper of Yah. Oved. A worshipper of Yah. And that connects us up with our culture. For Ovad Yah is one whose culture is sanctioned by Yah. So in the Hebrew language, then the name connects us up with our God. It connects us up with our culture. And Yor Yisrael, Ben Israel, Bat Yisrael. That means that the name connects us up with the land. For Ben Israel, Ben Yisrael, is stating that that individual is a native of Israel. Bad Yisrael, that daughter is a native of Israel. So now we can understand why that the names of the captives would have to be changed. For there is power in the names. The names continue to remind us of a God, a land, a language, and a culture. And if they are in fact to keep us alienated from our God, they would have to change our names. If they did not want us to know that we were natives of the Holy Land, they would have to change our names. If they did not want us to seek to better understand our holy culture, they would have to change our names. For us to hear daily Ovad Yah, relating to the culture, a worshipper of Yah, and worship, culture, is identifiable worship. So we can understand then the significance of the slave masters having to change the names of the captives. And in changing their names, they would cut them off from their God. And in changing their names, they would cut them off from their native land. And in changing their names, they would alienate them from their culture. The power of a name. The third commandment. All of that is contained within third commandment. And when you understand that, then you can understand why that the commandment dealing with a name would find its way into the 10 commandments, historically written with the finger of God. Thou shalt not take the name Yehovah, your God, the name of your God, Yehovah, the name of your God, in vain. For Yehovah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain, that marries, that attaches his name to that which does not accurately represent the Creator. And that, just for a reference, I would like to go to the book of Daniel.
Now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name Belshazzar, and unto Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah Abednego. And in the 4th chapter and the 8th verse, we find the revelation as to why their names were changed. But at the last, Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belshazzar, according to the name of my God. You must reflect upon that. Because each captivity, when the names were changed, they were given names according to the gods of the captors. So once again, but at the last Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belshazzar, according to the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods, and before him I told the dream. And just for further understanding and clarity, that Abednego is actually referring to a worshiper of the Babylonian god Nego.
I feel that what occurred during the ancient captivity in the land of Babylon is very, very significant, because we will find that during each captivity that the captors would place great emphasis upon changing the names of the people of God for the reasons that I have mentioned. There in the 1st chapter, we find that Daniel, Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael, and Daniel, that their names were changed, and they were given Babylonian names: Belshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And then in the 4th chapter and the 8th verse, it conveys unto us the reason why their names were changed. And it also sheds light upon the reason why the captives that were brought into contemporary captivity, why their names were changed. And it states that when Nebuchadnezzar summoned Belshazzar, Daniel said, Belshazzar, according to the name of his God. Now you must give serious thought to that the chief of the eunuchs had given Daniel a name that wherein it was called upon daily and referred to daily, it would be referring to one of the gods of Babylon. And the name that Daniel had prior, wherein he was referring to the God of his fathers, had to be changed. And it was the same when our people were brought into contemporary captivity. Their names were changed. And at that time they were given names that were referred to as Christian names or civilized names. But the bottom line is that they were given names that referred to the gods of the Europeans. They were simply European names. But the critical undertaking was that the names that connected them with a land, with a god, a land, language, and culture, had to be changed and cast aside, and they would have to be given names that referred to the gods of the Europeans. History repeating itself. The name. Changing the names. John Smith, John's son, son of John. Benny Yaw, a son of Yaw. All of those things are extremely significant, for the names keep the presence of Yaw in the midst of the people, or the names will summon the false gods of the nations that are around them. And as long as they remain under the false gods of deception, they can be kept perpetually in a state of weakness, for they cannot attain strength from the gods of deception. Only the God of truth, only the God of truth can save, redeem the families of the earth from the civilization of deception. Only the God of truth, only the truth will restore our advantage. Only the truth will give us once again the power to restore our civilization. Only the truth will restore our true advantage. And you must be persistent in your pursuit of truth, believing that those that possess truth possess a superior mind. Those that possess truth are those that become the saviors for those that are trapped under the idea of deception. Truth restores our advantage, and subsequently the mind that possesses truth becomes the superior mind. And it is for that reason that you must pursue truth, believing that in order to restore paradise on earth, in order to become redeemers and saviors, you must possess a superior intellect to that of the dominion of deception. And the revelation for physical immortality, everlasting life. This revelation has not come forth from the generic God being referred to in the English language. The formula for physical immortality has come forth from a specific God, a God that is now moving in the midst of his people to make his name great, a God that has called you forth in this season to sanctify his great name, to extol his name, to call upon his great name. For it is through your ability to call upon his name and to synchronize your language and your deeds and your activities with his will that will restore your power. So this revelation of physical immortality is not a revelation from the gods of the land, the gods of the people that are round about you. This revelation has come forth from a specific God. And the power of the name, this specific God. This evening, the Father will share with you the name that was given. Let us go now and consider the words of Moses in the 3rd chapter of Exodus and the 13th and 14th verse.
And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers has sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you.
I, like unto Moses, I inquired. When the revelation came for physical immortality, there was also a name given through which the power of the Creator would be called forth, would be revealed. There was a name that was given for our generations. Moses inquired, Whom shall I say that has sent me? And I inquired for our generations also, What is the name that you have sanctified for this season, through which your power will flow unto your people? And the name was given, and by no other name will anyone on this planet receive or achieve or attain physical immortality. And if you understand the message of this day, not only will it give you the keys to achieving physical immortality, but you will also be exposed to the power to turn all of these conditions, these negative conditions on this planet, to turn it all around. Everything becomes possible if you understand the power. If you understand the power that is contained in the name that was given, that was sanctified for this season. So I inquired also, what is the name that I should reveal unto them? Whom shall I say has sent me? And the name that was given, the primary name, Yah. The compound personal name, Yahuwah. Once again, for our generation, the name that contains the power, the primary name, Yah. Once again, the primary name compounded into another personal name, Yahuwah, the name that was written in the third commandment. The name that is to be used through which the power from the God of the Genesis will flow. The name that is to be used to call upon He that has the ability to hear and to respond. The name, the primary name, is Yah. And the compounded personal name is Yah, Yahuwah. Sometimes you may use Yah alone. Sometimes it may be used with the compound personal name. Both of these are personal names. I must remind you